Thank you, Mr. Bonadies. Renita Bonadies.
Hello again. My name is Renita. As I mentioned at the last meeting, the bylaws state each statement made by a participant shall be limited to 5 minutes duration. Again, you violated the bylaws by reducing minutes into 3 minutes. Instead of complying anything, you've doubled down by putting new things on the agenda, like redefining the request to address the board item with no public discussion or vote by the board. That is not how rules you are governed by work. I left a message about any of the 4 study committee meetings being open to the general public. Megan called back and said that they are for information gathering only and no voting or decision making takes place, so therefore they do not fall under the Open Meeting Act. As noted earlier by my husband, there are obviously decisions under the definition of OMA taking place. The public has vested interest in understanding and seeing this process of decision making by this board, as it is not carried out on all topics at the monthly meetings. The board also went from twice-a-month meetings to once a month in January of 2014, after Mr. Sharrow was hired. The further lack of transparency in doing business in public was not the intent of the Open Meeting Act. At the October 25th meeting, Mr. Sharrow stated, and I quote, "The law says I need to keep kids protected. It says I must as the superintendent, and I signed an oath to that." This is actually not true, Mr. Sharrow, and has been verified with an email from Cindy. I asked for a copy of your oath of office. Her response, "Mr. Sharrow is not an elected official, so he does not hold an office and therefore does not take an oath of office. Only you as elected board members take an oath of office." Is this how Mr. Sharrow tries to imply more authority and commitment to these children than he really has? We also learned from Linda that you have been given special board member training from the MASB. You are trained on how to be sure your employee, Mr. Sharrow, isn't made to look bad at public meetings. You have to spoon feed him questions ahead of time so he is never put on the spot at these meetings. I would remind you, as elected officials hired by we the people, that you took an oath to the Constitution in answer to us. Mr. Sharrow is your employee, not your boss. You can show respect, but you are to hold him accountable to what he proposes and the decisions he is making for this district. You are not to just be yes men and women. If you find your task too difficult or are afraid to ask the tough questions, including holding Mr. Sharrow accountable, then you need to resign now. There are others ready and able to serve this community in your place.